So hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to Phoenix What Ifs. So we are back with a brand new movie on what if Naruto had the power of Moon Heaven Destroyer ability in Bleach verse. But before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's begin the story. 6-year-old Naruto Namikaze was currently climbing a mountain. Not just any mountain, but the Hokage monument. With one arm tied behind his back. Now this is an extreme Jonin exercise, so why would this 6-year-old be doing this? To test himself, to see if he can go beyond his so-called parents. Ever since Naruto and his twin sister Mito, who is a minute younger than him, were born, they were cursed. Well, he was cursed. His sister got everything she wanted, no matter what, while he was ignored, all the time. Now let's take a step back and find out why he was being ignored all the time. 6 years ago. Are you sure, Sarutobi? I can do it. Minato said, holding his newborn children. He was currently riding on top of Gamabunta's head with his predecessor, the Sandaime Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, standing next to him. Yes, I'm positive. I can't ask you to abandon your children and wife. I will seal the soul and chakra into the young ones. I wish to join my wife, and these bones are too old for fighting any longer. Hiruzen smiled. Minato looked away and nodded. Thank you for everything, old man. Minato smiled sadly. Hiruzen nodded before casting the Shikifuin and summoning the Shinigami. Both men glared into the eyes of the nine-tailed fox that attacked their home, not paying attention to the Shinigami who was looking at the blonde-haired boy. I sense great hidden power within this boy. Could he be the first? The Shinigami asked while looking at Minato, and his eyes widened. How is this possible? Have they really come to this distant planet? His power is dormant and may not awaken, but this boy. His sister doesn't have the same but can be just as strong. The Shinigami nodded before gazing at Naruto and awakening his power. The baby cried. The Shinigami smiled inwardly at the baby's wail. That wail held power. Great power. Turning its head, the Shinigami sighed before sealing the soul of Kyuubi into the baby Naruto and the chakra into Mito. Out of the corner of its eye, the Shinigami saw something wave and tore it off the baby Naruto, but made sure he kept his power. Sighing in satisfaction, the Shinigami took away Hiruzen's soul for it to be judged by Kami. Minato sighed in relief now that it was over, though he never noticed his son's hair gain black strands. An hour later, Minato told the village what happened and how his daughter saved the village by having the demon's chakra sealed within her and the soul into Naruto. Both parents were happy to be a family and continued on with their lives. 4 years later. Father, are you gonna train me too? The 4-year-old Naruto asked with a huge grin. He has been waiting forever for his father to train him and his beloved little sister. Mito, who was by his side, was also smiling, waiting to train with her Aniki. No, I will just be training Mito, Minato said. Naruto looked confused, as did his sister. What about me, father? Naruto asked. I need to train Mito because she needs to learn how to control the Kyuubi's chakra. I'll train you when you enter the academy, Minato said. But what does that have to do with me? Naruto yelled. Naruto, watch your tone and apologize to your father. After, go to your room, Kushina said, walking towards them. Naruto looked bewildered while his father waited. San, can't Naruto Nikun train with me? I want him to get strong too. Mito smiled at her big brother, who was surprised. His little sister wanted to train with him. Naruto gave a small grin before looking at his father, who sighed. Fine. We can. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, never mind. Have fun, Mito-chan. Naruto forced a smile at her before walking off. Ni-san. She called after him. Both of his parents looked on with disinterest while Mito was confused. Didn't he want to train with her? She felt alone right now because she and her brother did everything together. When they were babies, they even slept in the same crib, and if they didn't, Naruto would cry till his parents put him with his sister. They were inseparable. She always felt safe around her Aniki. She didn't know why, but she was a little mad at her parents, but shrugged off. As Naruto walked away, he glared at his parents' back with little hatred before catching his sister's worried gaze. Naruto's heart lightened and gave her a grin. Mito smiled at him with a nod before going back to her parents, who were none the wiser at what happened. Naruto continued back to his room with a smile. It was always his little sister that cheered him up when he was down. But soon his smile became a frown. Mito got everything she wanted. When they would go out for dinner they would choose her suggestion over his. Mito would sense his feelings and offer him a chance to choose. Naruto took that chance once and regretted it. His parents seemed agitated but he didn't care as he had fun with Mito. But then he never got the chance or wanted to choose dinner again. He also noticed how the villagers liked his sister more than him and his parents were no different. They would see her as a hero while he was just the soul. Shaking his head he went to bed. Present that night was the night he met Kyuubi for the first time. At first she was stubborn but after she saw his memories she opened up to him. That's right. The Kyuubi no Yoko was a female. Not that he minded. Since that day she trained him. He also trained himself, which he was doing right now. Since his parents wouldn't help him he would take matters into his own hands. However, he couldn't wear weights since it would stunt his growth, but the training exercises he did made up for it. The boy was more interested in taijutsu than anything, but that didn't mean he didn't try ninjutsu. He worked on his chakra control, which was at best mid-chunin level. He was also a fuinjutsu specialist. His level was intermediate but he was learning. No thanks to his father, or godfather, who also took a liking to his beloved sister. Since that incident their relationship didn't wane, in fact it got stronger if that was even possible. Mito started hanging out with him more and wanted to skip training to play with him, but he told her she needed to get strong so they could protect each other. That was the only reason she continued training, to help her Aniki. His parents took notice but didn't comment on it. Whenever they went out as a family Naruto would be behind them glaring at their backs while they paid attention to Mito. Not in any way, shape or form was he jealous or felt angry at his sister. He just wished he was paid more attention also. But the only attention he received were glares and beatings from the villagers his father protected. He could beat them back but just withstood, using it as training his endurance and giving him another reason to hate the village and his parents. He had few friends, very few. Sayuri Uchiha, who was the younger sister of his brother figure Itachi Uchiha. Both children of the clan head Fugaku Uchiha and his wife, who was his mother figure Makoto. He really didn't mind Fugaku and Fugaku didn't mind him. When they saw each other they just gave nods and kept moving. Makoto treated him like his mother should have. He actually started calling her Ka-san, much to her joy. Next to Mito, Sayuri was his best friend. She was the first person in the academy who accepted him since he was always quiet and never talked to anyone besides his sister, who was outgoing. The whole class loved her while he was a bug. The only person seeing potential in Naruto was Iruka Amino, the class teacher. Naruto flipped on top of the Shodem head and untied his arm and sat down, looking at the village with his emotionless eyes. Tomorrow was his birthday. A day he hated the most because he was ignored. Mito received a batch full of gifts from everybody while he received a couple, and they were half-assed at that. The festival was also tomorrow. Something he won't be attending. Every time he went with his family, he was ignored and unwanted. Shaking his head he grabbed a towel from his back pocket and wiped the sweat of his body. He was currently shirtless, only wearing a pair of black shorts and with ankle gauze wrapped around, his ankle. Standing up he walked down the mountain using chakra and made his way to the Namikaze compound. Kushina Namikaze was currently cooking dinner for her family. She didn't know why, but she felt empty. She looked to the side at the family picture. She smiled, then frowned a little at seeing her son. He was a little bit away from the family with a frown on his face that would put Fugaku to shame. He was looking at the camera with emotionless eyes, with the most perfect impassive face ever. She was broken from her thoughts when Naruto walked into the house. He had his orange tank top while holding his arm. If she looked closely he was also limping. He walked in the kitchen, not even sparing her a glance or acknowledgement. "Naruto, are you okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," Naruto said quickly and went upstairs to his room. She frowned at the tone and frowned even further when his door was slammed shut. She went back to doing the dishes, thinking about her son and how it seemed he wasn't part of the family, and didn't smile unless it was at Mito. "Mom, is Naruto ni home?" Mito asked, walking inside. "Yes. Why weren't you with him?" she asked. "Well, he didn't come to the academy today. I was worried," Mito said. The girl had grown since her training started. Her hair was as red as her mother's and long too, so she kept it in a ponytail. She was an inch shorter than her brother and still had some baby fat. "He didn't go to school." "Naruto," she called. The boy heard his name and walked downstairs. "Hi, Mito-chan." Naruto grinned at her, making her smile, then frown. Big brother, how come you didn't go to school with me? She asked. Naruto gazed at her, his smile gone. Because school is a waste of time, he said seriously. What is a waste of time? Minato asked, walking in the room. Your son didn't go to school today. Kushina said, not knowing the quick glare the boy sent her, but Mito did, and she frowned further. You didn't? So what were you doing? Minato asked. Naruto looked at him and unbandaged his arm, much to everyone's confusion. What they saw made their eyes widened. Naruto had a serious burn on his arm, and if they looked closely, he was also bruised. I was taken out of school by those people you call villagers. They did this. Is that good enough for you? Naruto asked with a half glare. Naruto. Kushina whispered in worry. Naruto glanced at her and bandaged his arm back and walked off. This is nothing, he muttered, going back to his room. Minato was confused. His son just walked away from them like it was normal. He had been worried all day about Naruto being different than everyone else. And he was right. His son was different. I'm going to see if Big Brother is okay, Mito said, walking off. When she was gone, Kushina returned to the dishes. I talked to Jiraiya today, Minato said. Oh, what did the pervert want? Kushina asked with a raised eyebrow. He wanted Mito to sign the Toad contract, Minato said. Kushina's eyes widened and looked at Minato, demanding answers. Minato nodded and told her what happened. Flashback: the fourth Hokage was sitting at his desk filling paperwork. But not just any paperwork, the paperwork that concerned the villagers and his son. He didn't tell his wife because she would get mad, so he kept it to himself for now, and knew Naruto had been doing the same. He had no choice but to let them go and charge a fee. Minato just hoped his son would forgive him and the villagers would move on. Yo Gaki. A voice said from behind. What is it, Ero Sennin? I'm busy, Minato said, not looking away from his work. Jiraiya grumbled about no respect and spoke. I talked with the Toads. They told me about the child of the prophecy, and I think it's Mito. Jiraiya said. What about Naruto? Minato asked. Well, has he talked to the Kyuubi? Jiraiya asked. I don't know. I don't know what that boy is thinking anymore. When he was younger he was an open book, but now it seems he shut off all connections. He doesn't even acknowledge our presence, just Mito, Minato said sadly. Well, at least he didn't meet it yet. Wouldn't you want him to meet it as a child or older? Anyway, can I let her sign it? Jiraiya asked. Minato nodded. Jiraiya grinned and left for research. When the old pervert was gone, he turned back to his desk and smiled at his family picture which was on his desk. He thought about his family and how happy they were. He looked closely and saw that Naruto wasn't smiling or anything. He looked dead. As he gazed at the picture, he remembered all the times his son asked for something but they ignored him and asked Mito what she wanted. The dinner requests became less frequent since his request was granted before they just stopped. Naruto would not show his face in the house, instead being in his room or outside somewhere. At dinner time he would be so focused on his food unless Mito asked him something, but when he was gonna reply, he or Kushina would interrupt and ask Mito instead. The girl would get mad at them and ask Naruto again, but he would just ignore her and leave. He cursed himself that he would treat one of his children better than the other. Packing up his stuff, he went home vowing to be a better father to Naruto. Flashback end. So you also think Naruto isn't a part of the family? Kushina said. Minato nodded at her, which made her sullen. Looking back at the picture, she remembered how when the family went out Naruto would be a couple feet behind them. Or when he came home he didn't say hi or anything and just dropped his stuff and left the house. When she did see him he was reading, which was good since Mito started to take reading seriously since her big brother by a minute was doing it. Snapping out of her thoughts, Minato said, after his birthday I'll start his training. Minato said. Oh, he would love that. Kushina smiled. I hope he will. Minato smiled. Kushina smiled before asking with a frown. Minato, what are we gonna do about? Wait, did you know about this? About Naruto getting hurt by the villagers? She asked in a heated tone. Minato looked away, making her eyes widened. How dare you? How dare you hide? Naruto did the same thing. He didn't even tell me about it. Minato replied. Yes, but I'm his mother. I should know if something like that happens, Kushina yelled. The two continued to argue till dinner was ready. As Naruto came down he noticed that his parents were smiling at him while his sister had that grin on her face. Not that he minded that, but his parents were another story. Narrowing his eyes, he grabbed his long-sleeved jacket, zipped it up and walked off. "I'm going out," he said, making everyone's eyes widen. "Naruto, where are you going?" Kushina asked. "Out," he said heatedly. "What about dinner?" Mito asked. Naruto stopped and looked over his shoulder. "I'll eat at the Uchiha's," Naruto said, walking off, not sparing them a glance. Minato and Kushina were in shock while Mito looked away sadly. But everyone perked up when Naruto came back and unzipped his jacket and sat in his seat. "I forgot that Makoto-chan is cooking sushi for Sayuri." "Ew." Naruto shuddered while eating his food. Minato was about to comment on his son's near absence but pretended it didn't even happen, as did Kushina, for now. "Mito-chan, what was the lesson Iruka-sensei had?" Naruto asked. Mito smiled and answered. "He was teaching us about the parts of chakra and elements." Mito said. "Then it was a waste of time," Naruto said. Hoping to get his son talking more, he said, "What are the lessons, still boring?" "Yes," Naruto said simply. "Well, the theory is quite. No, you misunderstand. The lesson is a waste. It's a waste because I already know it. Along with the rest of the year," Naruto said, wiping his mouth and standing up. He put his plate into the sink and started to wash before Kushina said, "It's okay, Naruto, I can wash it." She smiled. "I know. But don't want to be a bigger burden, that's all," Naruto said, not even looking at her. After he was done wiping his hands, he kissed Mito's forehead and headed out. "Now I'm leaving." Naruto closed the door, leaving a shocked Minato and Kushina. Mito sighed before finishing her food. "I'm going to bed," she said, and walked away. The next morning was greeted with the Namikaze family sitting in the living room for a meeting. Bogus. That's what Naruto thought. Instead of sitting in between his sister and mother, he leaned against the wall with his arms crossed. "Good morning, everyone. I want to say happy birthday to both of you. Also, Naruto, your mother and I will be starting your training tomorrow," Minato said, hoping this would work, as did Kushina. Mito sat there looking at her brother, knowing this was far from working. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the ground. "Train me? Now of all times you decide to train me?" "I refuse," Naruto said with a glare. "Hun?" Minato sputtered. "I refuse. Why would I want your training when I can train myself? Something that I have been doing for the last 2 years. Continue to train, Mito," Naruto growled before walking off. Kushina was in tears while Minato looked away, ashamed with himself. Mito, on the other hand, felt pity, but not for her brother, but for her parents. She tried to stop this, but a 7-year-old can only do so much. Naruto walked out of the compound grumbling with a glare. How dare they try and teach him when he bugged them but chose his sister instead? It infuriated him to no end. As he was walking, Naruto tripped over something. Rubbing away his pain, he looked at what he tripped over. On the ground was a bluish kind of orb which seemed to glow. For some reason he felt drawn to it and picked it up. As he kept holding it, it felt as if he was getting stronger. "Q-chan, do you know what this is?" Naruto asked. "I have no clue, Naruto-kun. But your power is increasing just by touching it. I want you to hold it to your chest," Kyuubi ordered. Naruto nodded and held it to his chest. To his and Kyuubi's surprise, the rock phased through him like it was some kind of ghost. "What the hell?" he gasped. "I can't see it anywhere. Q-chan, do you know?" Naruto asked. "I do. It is in your body. Looks like it found its new container," a voice said. Naruto looked up to see a woman with white hair and piercing violet eyes. She was wearing black hakama pants and a white tank top that showed her generous bust that was at least a D cup bordering on DD. "What do you mean container? What was that thing?" Naruto demanded. "Calm down, Naruto. That rock you were holding was called the Hyogaku," the woman said. "Hyogaku? What does it do? And why me?" Naruto wondered while Kyuubi was trying to ponder on who this person was. She had a feeling but couldn't put her finger on it. "The Hyogaku grants a person's deepest desires and brings power. It only chooses people who want power, but for the right reasons. You are the first on this planet since I came here," the woman explained. "So it could tell I wanted power, hun? What's the catch?" Naruto narrowed his eyes. "You're smart, aren't you? The catch is you come with me for training when you pass your genin exam. There I can train you," she said. Naruto's eyes lightened up at that. Someone was willing to train him besides Kyuubi. He asked Itachi, but the Uchiha was way too busy to train him, even though he really wanted to. There was no way he was asking his parents anymore. Naruto thought about the pros and cons. The good side was he would leave this stupid village and become more powerful, while the bad side was he would leave Sayuri, Itachi, Makoto, and worst of all, Mito. Naruto sighed. This would be hard on her the most. But he couldn't stay here. We'll come back for her, the woman said, guessing on what he was thinking. Naruto looked up at her. Her power is dormant, but if we train her later she can become as powerful as you. But I want you. We will come back for her later, she said. Naruto nodded. Then I accept, Naruto said. The woman grinned at him. I'm glad, Naruto-kun. By the way, you can call me Rika. Meet me at the Valley of the End in 6 years when you pass your genin test. Oh, here is a gift from me. Train with it. Become one because it is a part of your soul, Rika said, putting her palm against his chest. She drew it back and what followed was a black katana. Naruto's eyes widened at how long it was. Once she was done pulling it out, she handed it to him. The blade itself was black and at least 8 inches. The crossguard was a black swastika. Naruto gripped the red grip that was on the 4-inch long hilt. At the end of the hilt was a chain of 9 links. This is your weapon. Your Soul Slayer. Rika smiled. Naruto was so surprised he didn't even register what he just said, but Rika did. Zangetsu. He breathed. Rika nodded. Train with it, Naruto. Meet me in 6 years and your power will be ready to burst. Now I must go. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun. Rika smiled before vanishing. Naruto looked up to not see the person who gave him this awesome present. Naruto, go home and come into the seal. We need to talk, Kyuubi said in an urgent voice. Naruto raised a brow but shrugged. Darn, I don't have a sheath. Naruto muttered. Before his eyes a black sheath encased his sword. Naruto grinned before getting some long thick string and tying the sword to his back. Nodding satisfaction, Naruto ran home to talk with his inner best friend. When he arrived home, he passed by his parents, who caught a glimpse of his new weapon. Naruto, Minato called. Naruto stopped and walked backwards to face them. Yes? He asked in annoyance. That sword, where did you? It was a present from a friend. Now if you excuse me, I'll be in my room, Naruto said in a cold tone before walking away, muttering about something incoherent. What are we gonna do about him, Minato? He hates us, Kushina asked with tears falling from her face. We try and bring him back. We've neglected him too long. We will do anything to get him back, Minato said. Okay. But first we must get ready for the party. Kushina smiled, wiping her eyes. They both nodded and got started. Naruto was sitting on the floor Indian style while his new sword was resting on his lap. His arms were folded and his head was down, trying to concentrate. After a few minutes he entered the seal. Opening his eyes, he was not where he thought he was. His mindscape was a green field for Kyuubi, not some rural city. What the hell is this? Naruto demanded. So you are my new partner. I must say you resemble Ichigo a lot. But I think it's because you are his reincarnation, no matter if you are from a different planet, a voice said. Naruto whipped around to see a tall middle-aged man with long black hair and with unkempt facial hair. He was wearing a white undershirt with a tall collar with a black overcoat over it, along with a gray pair of combat boots, and a black pair of pants with a dark pair of narrow sunglasses covering his eyes. Hey, I know you. You're Zangetsu, Naruto pointed. Yes, I am. It is nice to meet you after so long, Naruto Namikaze, Zangetsu said, noticing a flash of hate from the surname. I would say the same, but I don't know you. But how do you know me, and who is this Ichigo person? Naruto asked. Zangetsu nodded before waving his hand. Behind Naruto was a screen full of Ichigo's fights from when his mother died to when he killed Aizen. Not that long ago, on a planet that is similar to yours called Earth, Ichigo Kurosaki and his friends were dragged into a spiritual war. This is the result. Please view his memories, Zangetsu said. Naruto nodded and gave his full attention. For 2 hours he watched everything his incarnation has been through, and how he killed Sosuke Aizen and died along with his friends. When it all ended, Naruto turned to Zangetsu with a serious face. How can I be his reincarnation if he is from a different planet, as you say? It makes no sense, Naruto said. Reincarnations are made everywhere. For example, your reincarnation could be made 2 galaxies away from where you were born. The bottom line is you're a new Ichigo, but you are your own person. The Hyogaku can bring you your dormant power. And I will help you, Zangetsu explained. Naruto sighed. This was too much to bear and put on one kid. Reincarnation? Normally he wouldn't believe it, but he has a giant fox sealed into his gut and his species can do stuff normal people would never believe. I believe you, Zangetsu, Naruto said. Good, this makes things easier, Kyuubi said, walking up from behind. So you believe this too, hun? Naruto muttered. Yup. So from now on you just won't be training under me, but under Zangetsu as well. That way you will be able to use him correctly. You better go, someone wants to speak to you, Kyuubi said. They can wait, Naruto said. It's your sister, Kyuubi said. Naruto sighed before leaving the two alone. Are you sure it is wise to leave him to me? He may not come out in one piece, Zangetsu smirked. Yes. But there is something I must take care of, Kyuubi said with a faraway look. Oh, and what is that, may I ask? Zangetsu wondered. Naruto may be Ichigo's reincarnation, but I don't need it to be another moody kid. Naruto has locked away his true personality when his parents started to neglect him from his sister. I think it's time to release it, Kyuubi said. Yes. Ichigo was a bit emo and I hate to have another partner like that. But release it when the time comes. I think he should keep this personality till it is time for departure, Zangetsu suggested. Kyuubi nodded. Yeah. I'll just loosen it then. She smirked before vanishing, leaving Zangetsu alone. Are you gonna come out now? Zangetsu asked to no one. So you're Zangetsu. It will be fun to see what he can do, a rough voice said. It reminded Zangetsu of Hollow Ichigo's voice. So you're his inner Hollow then? Zangetsu asked, facing another Naruto. This Naruto's skin was pure white while his hair was black with white strands here and there. His sclera was black as was his pupils while his irises was gold. He wore the typical Arrancar outfit except his sleeves were rolled up and his jacket was part-way unzipped, letting Zangetsu see the gothic number 0 on the right side of his chest even though it was barely. Last, what annoyed Zangetsu to no end was the arrogant smirk. The same smirk Hollow Ichigo used to wear. Most of his mind is in your control. What do you hope to gain? Zangetsu smirked. Actually, I'm not really in control, I just control his dark thoughts and turn it into power, Naruto said. Why are you here? Zangetsu asked with narrowed eyes. I just came to see if he was really gonna gain power. But I will fight for his body soon and destroy this planet. Naruto laughed while fading away. Zangetsu was troubled. His inner Hollow shouldn't be here unless he already existed in some other form. Then he came to the conclusion of Dark Naruto. He guessed when he revealed Naruto's connection with Ichigo de Naruto transformed into Naruto. With that he started to go deeper into his thoughts. Meanwhile Naruto opened his eyes to see his sister in front of him with curious eyes. Ni-san, what are you doing? Mito asked. Naruto stared at her for a couple of seconds before falling back comically. Ah. Mito. You can't be in someone's face when they first wake up. Naruto pointed at her. Mito giggled. Sorry Naruto ni. She said. I sweat you and Sayuri-chan are one in the same. Naruto grumbled. Anyway, what is it? He wondered. Well, mother and father wanted me to tell you to get dressed, we're going to the Hyugas for. Sorry, not coming. I got plans. Naruto cut her off. But Ni-san. Why won't you come with us? Hinata will be there, she said. That weak Hyuga girl. Why'd I care if she's there or not? Naruto said coldly. Hun. Is that what you think of her? She asked in disbelief. Of course. And tell her to stop stalking me. It makes it harder for me to train when she does. Naruto said. But she likes you. How can you say something like that? Mito asked. Because I can. And so what? I don't like her. If she wants to get my attention in a good way, tell her to stop that stuttering nonsense. It's unfitting for a future clan head, Naruto said. By this time Kushina and Minato were outside the door listening in. So she can act like you? You're gonna be clan head soon also? Mito yelled. You think I want to? I hate this stupid clan and village. Why the hell would I want to be clan head when I'm rejected by my own family? If I had the choice I would burn everything to the ground. Now get out, Naruto yelled. Mito stared in shock as tears started to fall from her eyes. You hate us? She whispered. Naruto turned away from her. Leave Mito. Naruto said coldly, making her flinch before running out the room. Kushina went after her daughter, tears falling down her face as well. Minato stayed by the door with an ashamed expression. Why are you outside my door? Do you need something? Naruto asked in that calm yet cold voice. No, just get dressed, we're leaving in 10. Minato said, walking off. Naruto sighed in annoyance before grabbing some clothes. He felt bad at yelling at Mito, but she was annoying him to no end. But it was true. He hated this small clan of 4 people. Well, he hated his parents. His sister he would always protect. But he also hates the village. After getting dressed, he looked into the mirror. He narrowed his eyes as he saw some of his bangs with black strands, and his hair was a still blonde but more black than before. He wondered what was happening to him but shrugged off, thinking it was the Hyogaku. He inspected his clothing. It wasn't like the kimono his father wore. Far from it, in fact. He wore black sandals with black pants, a mesh shirt, and a short orange jacket. He messed with his hair to make it more messy. Nodding to himself, he left his room to see his sister was wiping her eyes. But she had a red kimono on with blue swirls. Her hair was let down like Kushina's. He refused to call her his mother. That was for Mikoto. He passed her by without a word and went downstairs. He noticed Minato was wearing a traditional white kimono, but stitched to his back was Namikaze. Kushina wore the same kimono Mito wore. Naruto, why are you wearing that? Kushina asked, noticing her son's clothing. Naruto glanced at her before leaning against a wall with his eyes closed and arms folded. Because I refuse to wear the same thing he wears. It ridicules. A Saiyan should always be ready for battle. Naruto said before his eyes snapped open. What the hell did he just say? Saiyan? How did he? Naruto, where are you going? Minato wondered as Naruto ignored him and rushed to the bathroom. He slammed the door shut and locked the door. Going through some hand signs, he placed a sound barrier. As soon as it was done, he screamed in pain as the lower part of his body started to hurt. Ah! Naruto screamed, matching the same screams Naruto was going through. Kyuubi and Zangetsu watched in confusion while above in the heavens a certain white-haired woman smiled in glee. It was happening. Naruto screamed once again in more pain before his body shook and something shot out of the back part of his pants right above his butt. Naruto fell to the ground as he started to pant. What the hell was that? He asked. He slowly stood up and something knocked over the soap dispenser. Looking in confusion, he picked it back up and turned and caught something brown. What the? He muttered before his eyes widened as he saw a brown tail. What the hell is this? Naruto screamed as he grabbed the tail and grunted in pain. He let go of the tail as the pain went away. So if someone grabs my tail, then I hurt. Naruto guessed. How the hell was he gonna explain this to the 2 adults outside when he didn't know what happened his damn self? But he guessed it came with saying he was a Saiyan, whatever that is. Sighing to calm himself down, his tail wrapped around his waist like a belt. After getting rid of everything to the bathroom, he left to see his parents looking at him curiously. Bathroom. Let's go. Naruto ordered, leaving the house. The parents sighed before looking at Mito, who was sad. They all left the house following Naruto, but soon he was following them, ignoring all the glares by sending his own amount of glares and ki. The 4 traveled to the Hyuga compound where they were greeted by Hiashi himself. Minato, I'm glad you came. Hiashi smiled. Minato nodded with his own smile while Kushina turned to her kids. You 2 go and play. We will leave in a while. Kushina smiled. Mito nodded while Naruto had other plans. Excuse me, Hiashi-sama, is there anywhere I can train? Naruto asked politely. Yes. Just go straight and make a right. There will be some training space. Hiashi informed. Thank you. Naruto bowed before walking off. He is quite the looker, isn't he? Seems he can't stop training either. Reminds me of you, Minato. Hiashi joked. No, he doesn't. Not at all. Minato sighed before setting up his false smile and continued with the party. While Kushina stared after her son in sadness, she would check on him in a few hours or so. It's been an hour and Naruto was meditating, learning all there was need to know about Soul Reaper power. Zangetsu would start teaching him Shunpo. Something that was much faster than Minato's Hiraishin no Jutsu. As soon as the lesson was over, Naruto opened his eyes and was immediately aware of his surroundings. It's rude to spy on someone, Hinata, Naruto said in a cold voice, making the hidden girl flinch. Naruto stood and began stretching when Hinata showed herself. Naruto-kun, why aren't you it? Would you stop stuttering? It's annoying. How am I gonna hear what you're saying if you're stuttering and quiet? Speak up. Naruto glared. Hinata kept jumping every time he raised his voice and was hurt he would say that. No matter. I'm not at the party because I don't like parties, and second, I didn't want to come anyway. I could be using this as training, which you were interrupting, Naruto said. That's enough, Naruto, Mito said. Naruto turned his glare to his sister, making her tense a bit. What do you want? If it's to get her out of my face, then hurry and do so. Naruto spat before turning around, not expecting a rock to hit his head. Why did you throw that? Naruto glared. Stop being a meanie. Mito glared back. You're really testing my patience, foolish little sister, Naruto said. Mito glared harder while Naruto had enough and sent his killer intent at her, making her and Hinata freeze. Naruto! Kushina yelled upon feeling the small dose. Naruto turned his gaze at his mother and it increased, making her freeze. She couldn't believe it. There was no way her little boy had this much killer intent at this age. Can I help you? Naruto asked. Kushina remained calm and stared back. Why are you treating your sister and friend this way? Kushina wondered, not knowing she struck a nerve. Friend? Friend? Naruto yelled, making her step back an inch. What do you know about me having friends? Hun? Naruto yelled, not knowing that his eyes flashed teal. You think you know everything about me because you conceive me? Is that it? Newsflash? I have one friend, and she isn't here right now. What makes you think I want to be friends with this weak Hyuga? Naruto glared, his ki rising. By this time Hinata passed out and Mito was close to it. Gra! Naruto roared, looking at the sky. He sighed as he calmed down. The night sky was really calming him down. Then he glanced at the quarter moon. He felt a rise in power, but it died down. I'm going to the compound, Naruto said as he walked away. Naruto, wait. Kushina called after him, but he ignored her and kept walking. Hey, what's going on? I heard yelling, Minato said. We're going home, Kushina said as she grabbed Mito's hand. What? But now, Kushina screamed, tears falling from her eyes. Minato stepped back, then came back just as quick. Does this have to do with Naruto? He asked. The woman flinched and turned away. I'm leaving, she said, walking off. Minato sighed as Hinata stood up. Hokage Sama. Does Naruto-kun hate me? She asked, wiping her eyes. Minato turned around to see she was crying. No, he is just angry at me and he doesn't hate you. Minato smiled. Hinata nodded, satisfied with that answer. Minato sighed as he walked back home. The guests would be arriving soon and the festival already started. An hour later, Naruto was leaning against the wall watching his sister open her batch full of presents. Naruto-kun. A voice called. Naruto turned his head to see Sayuri along with Itachi. Hey guys, Naruto grinned. Happy birthday. I hope you like it. Sayuri handed it a wrapped gift while blushing. Naruto grinned at her while taking it. Thanks, Sayuri-chan. Naruto grinned. This is from me, Itachi said, giving Naruto a shirt with the Uchiha clan symbol on the back. Thanks, Ni-san. Naruto smiled. Naruto then opened Sayuri's gift to see it was a picture of them together. Unlike the other pictures in the house, Naruto had a genuine grin and had his arm around Sayuri's shoulder. They took that picture a week ago. Sayuri was also smiling, her long dark indigo hair pulled into a braid while she matched his grin. Thanks, Sayuri-chan. Naruto hugged her, making her blush. Without knowing it, Naruto channeled some Ryotsu into her. Sayuri gained a warm feeling and started to hug him back. Hey everyone, now it is time for Jiraiya's present, Minato called. Naruto let go of Sayuri and watched with narrowed eyes as the white-haired man walked over to Mito. Here ya go, Mito. I'm allowing you to sign the Toad contract so you can train under me. Jiraiya grinned. It grew bigger from hearing Tsunade growl. She was mad because she wanted Mito to sign the slug scroll. The guests were in awe that Jiraiya would allow that. Even Naruto making him turn away and walk off. Itachi noticed this and wanted to go after him but saw his father walk off also. Mito signed the scroll next to her father's name and looked up. Pervy granddad, what about Naruto ni? Shouldn't he sign the scroll too? Mito asked. Jiraiya looked confused but remembered his talk with Minato. Yeah. Want to go take it to him? He asked with a smile. Sure, I'm sure Ni-san will be really happy. Mito grinned and went to look for her brother. Tsunade did as well. She wouldn't lose Naruto to the Toad contract either. Naruto was sitting on the porch in the backyard looking at the night sky with a glare. Something troubling you, kid? A gruff male voice asked. Naruto looked away and spotted Fugaku leaning against the wall with his eyes closed. No, is there something you need, Fugaku-sama? Naruto asked politely. Just wanted to give you your presents, that's all. Fugaku shrugged. Naruto's eyes widened. Hun? Naruto asked. What, never heard of gifts? Fugaku joked with a smirk. No, it's just that I didn't think you would give me one, Naruto said. Well, I like ya, kid. You got the spirit of an Uchiha and you make my daughter happy. Plus you don't annoy the hell out of me like your father. Fugaku muttered. Naruto smirked also. Thank you, Fugaku-sama. Naruto bowed. Here, these are some fire jutsu from the clan. Use them well. See ya. Fugaku said, giving 3 scrolls, and left with a wave. Naruto smiled at the man's retreating figure and set aside the scrolls. Ni-san? Mito called from behind the big scroll in her hands. Yes, Mito, what is it? Naruto asked. A pervy granddad wanted me to give you this. He wanted you to sign it also. Mito said, pushing out the scroll. No thanks. I refuse to sign something because someone is guilty, Naruto said. Mito huffed. Brother, would you just take the scroll already? She said forcefully. Get it away, Naruto yelled, smacking it away while glaring at her. Mito stared with wide eyes, tears about to spill. What is going on here? Tsunade asked, standing in front of them. Naruto turned his glare at her. What, you want me to sign your stupid scroll too? No thanks, Naruto said, walking off. Naruto, where are you going? Tsunade asked in astonishment. Why are you such a jerk? Mito screamed, making Naruto stop. Ever since they said no, you've always been like this. You always put on that fake smile and act like you're not in pain. You are hateful to everybody but the Uchihas and me. Why can't you? Quiet. Naruto whispered, his tone cold. You may be my little sister, but you know nothing. You know nothing of the pain I have been through. 6 years. 6 years of neglect, and now you all want to notice me? Fat chance. This village will burn to the ground sooner or later, and when your precious Hokage can't save you, then you will all perish. Naruto said, darkly glaring directly at his father, who was standing in front of him. Naruto closed his eyes and walked past, going to his room. What is wrong with him? Tsunade asked in a whisper. Minato was frozen. That glare was made from pure hate. Looking over to his daughter, Mito was silently sobbing. The whole house heard Naruto's speech and were taken back. Eventually they all jumped when someone came tumbling down the stairs. And stay out, Naruto yelled before his door slammed shut, shaking the house. Even the door started to crack. Everyone looked to the person on the stairs. It was man wearing a Chunin uniform. His eye was black, his lips were swollen. Blood was oozing from his head and his right arm was twisted the wrong way. The only person to do this was Naruto. Everyone looked at Minato, who was looking at the direction Naruto was. His family was breaking apart. It's been 6 years since he gained the Hyogoku. All he had to do was wait 2 more days till he got the hell out of here. He's been training non-stop and it seemed he got results. He grew at least 2 inches taller. His hair was not only blonde but blonde with black streaks running almost everywhere. His body put on some more weight due to him always working out. The muscles on his arms grew as much as they could for a 13-year-old, and he officially gained a 6-pack that was unnoticed unless he had his shirt off. However, he was still lean, not an overactive muscle builder, as it would ruin his form. Now he was skilled with Zangetsu enough to nearly achieve Bankai. And he was no pushover in Kenjutsu, that much was clear. He is able to take on 3 Anbus in a Kenjutsu match, but what really was his forte was Taijutsu. Ever since his 7th birthday he was interested in Taijutsu. He took on more than one style. His recent favorite style was the Saruken, from the Sarutobi clan. He also learned Ryuken. He was able to create moves from learning that style. It also helped he had fire, wind and lightning affinities. But there was something he was working on. Darkness affinity. Having hatred for his parents and the village allowed him to learn how to use it. There was one time that power tried to consume him but it didn't. He was strong enough to beat it away and gain full control over it. After doing that everything else was easy. He learned and mastered Shunpo also. Yup, his power has grown. After the birthday incident he was able to make up with his sister and take back everything he said about her. She also forced him to apologize to Hinata, which he did. But he wasn't apologizing on what he said, more like how he said it. His parents weren't even in his radar. Even though they tried and still are to make it up to him, which wasn't happening. He didn't care what stuff they gave him, he still would never forgive them. Alright kids, in tomorrow the graduation test will commence. I want all of you to practice and study hard so you can become genin. Dismissed, Iruka said. Naruto stood up and carried his bag over his shoulder and walked off. Nii-san, Mito called. Naruto glanced behind him to see she was running towards him. Yeah, he asked in a bored tone. Are you going home? She asked. When you mean home, the Namikaze compound? Then yeah, Naruto said. Great, then we can walk together. She grinned. No way, I'm walking with Naruto-kun. Ino yelled. No way, Ino pig, I'm walking home with Naruto-kun. Sakura yelled. Bill bored brow. Ino growled. Pig. Sakura growled back while lightning shot from their eyes. Would you two shut up? Everybody knows that I'm walking with Naruto-kun. Amy said. No way. Ino and Sakura yelled. Guys, Naruto-kun is already gone. Another fangirl pointed out, making the three turn in his direction to see he was indeed gone. Naruto sighed as he and his sister walked to the compound. Ever since his 8th birthday he had to deal with the horror which were fangirls. They were the paperwork to the cage. You should be happy girls are noticing you. Mito giggled. Naruto glanced at her, then forward. No, I can really care less right now. Naruto shrugged. Oh come on, every girl thinks you're hot. Even Sayuri. Mito grinned. And every boy thinks you're hot too. Have you ever noticed why the guys only look at you once then don't ever do it again? It's because, yeah I know. Mito cut him off. It was true. Mito was just an inch shorter than him. Her hair was now to her mid-back and wasn't in a braid. But that wasn't the main thing that got the boys' attention. It was her assets and her ass. She was now at least a high B or low C cup. No doubt probably from their mother. Her ass was also gained shape. It was no longer flat like it used to. It was now round. Her nice long legs also complemented it. Her outfit was no better. She wore a long-sleeve orange-blue zipper shirt and a black skirt that stopped at her thighs. She also wore black boots that stopped right below her knees. Naruto wore black Anbu pants with black sandals and black shin guards. Around his waist was an orange sash. He also wore a black sleeveless fishnet shirt under a fully unzipped orange high-collared tracksuit jacket. The jacket had black lines running down the arms. If he didn't have his jacket on he would have black forearm guards on. His hair was now like Minato's, but he planned on changing that soon. Normally he would be sporting Zangetsu on his back but couldn't bring it to school. The two finally made it back to the compound, or home as Mito would call it. Mom, we're home, Mito called. As she was setting down her backpack, Kushina walked out of the kitchen. Hey kids, how was school? She asked with a smile. Waste. Cool, they both said at the same time. Mito looked at her brother who was walking upstairs to his room. Well, did you guys learn anything? Kushina asked, hoping to get Naruto in the conversation. Well, Iruka-sensei said graduation was tomorrow. But it will be a piece of cake, right brother? Mito asked as Naruto was walking to his room. He said as his door closed. Mito rolled her eyes and saw her mom looked sullen. I still can't believe he doesn't forgive us. She said quietly. He will, but you have to keep trying. Mito smiled softly. Naruto flopped on his bed, his jacket covering the chair next to his desk. Sighing to himself, he fell asleep waiting till dinner was ready. Naruto, dinner's ready. Mito said, knocking on his door. A second later the door opened to reveal Naruto with bed hair. Mito blushed lightly at seeing his arms. Without a word, Naruto made his way downstairs and sat in the seat he had since he was a little boy. Right next to his sister and across from his parents. Hey son. Father. Naruto replied. Mito sat down next to him and they all started eating. Are you two ready for graduation? Minato asked. Yup, soon enough I'll become a genin. Mito grinned. Naruto said while chewing his food. Hey dad, once we're genin we have a 3-man team, right? Mito asked. That's right. Minato nodded. Well then, do you know who I'll be paired up with? Mito asked. Not really, since I don't know who passed or not. Minato shrugged. Well, I hope Sayuri and Naruto are on my team. Mito said. Naruto had his eyes closed as he kept eating. Who do you want on your team, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked. I don't really care. As long as they're not weak and can hold their own, then I'm fine. Naruto answered, his eyes still closed. I think you will be paired up with Hinata and Kiba. Since you are the rookie of the year, Kiba's the dead last next to Shikamaru and Hinata is average. Mito summarized. Then we have a problem. Naruto said. What do you mean? Minato asked. This was good. Even though this was a bad topic, at least they got their silent son talking more than a few words. Hinata was supposed to be the clan head of the Hyuga clan, correct? And Kiba is the same for the Inuzuka. Naruto stated. The parents didn't like where this was going but nodded anyway. I heard that Hanabi, Hinata's little sister, is going to become the new clan head since her older sister is too weak and timid. Hiyashi said so himself. Naruto said, still eating with his eyes closed. Man, that's terrible. Hinata must be sad. Father isn't there and thing you can do it about it? Mito asked. Minato shook his head. Oh, well then how about Sakura or Ino? Mito teased. Naruto stopped eating and glared at his sister. Don't even joke like that. He said seriously. Sakura as in Haruno? Kushina asked. Yeah, Mito said, trying to avoid her brother's glare. Then she must be the daughter of Sakuya Haruno. And Ino is the daughter of Inoichi Yamanaka, correct? Minato asked, getting a nod from Mito. Then why is it a bad thing, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked. Naruto turned his gaze at her and answered. I'll put it like this. I will take Hinata Hyuga any day over those simple-minded weak fangirls. Especially the billboard brow. I swear she must have her own orbit. Naruto muttered before standing and cleaning his plate at the sink. After he was done, he dried his hands and turned to his family. I'm going to bed. Good night, Naruto said before leaving. Minato and Kushina sighed while Mito just shook her head. The next day Naruto was walking to the academy with his sister behind him. Sayuri was also next to her. The two were talking about the graduation test while Naruto was just silent. We'll pass for sure. Sayuri grinned. Yeah, then Iruka-sensei will have no choice but to put us on the same team. Mito grinned. Sayuri nodded before looking at her secret crush. To be on the same team with Naruto is her dream. Naruto felt her stare but didn't comment, instead quickly glanced at her. The girl had also grown. She was the same height as his sister. Her dark hair was to her mid-back while she had a bang covering her left eye. She had an hourglass figure also. Her ass wasn't like Mito's but her S made up for it. She was at least a high C cup or low D cup. Not to mention long legs. She wore a tight blue short-sleeved shirt with tan shorts. Last were the silver shin guards. All right class, settle down, Iruka ordered. They kept talking but when Naruto walked in the room everyone shut up and sat down. Iruka sighed in relief. Both girls behind him sat in their seats while Naruto stared among the seats. None were open besides the one next to Hinata. Naruto stared impassively before looking at the seat which was in the back. Muttering to himself, he walked over to that seat, much to the Hyuga girls' disappointment. All right kids, time for the written test. Take your time and good luck. Iruka smiled before passing out the tests. 5 minutes later Naruto stood and handed in his test and went back to his seat. They all stared at him while he leaned against the back of the chair and closed his eyes. 45 minutes later the class turned in their tests and headed outside for the shuriken throwing test. One by one each student went till it was Mito's turn. She stepped up and threw all the shuriken in one go, striking each target's center. She smirked while looking at her brother who was next. He stepped up and looked at it with a bored expression. He managed to get all the shuriken in one hand and flung them with a quick F of the wrist. One thunk was heard as all the projectiles were in the dead center of the target. Naruto turned around, put his hands in his pockets and walked off without a word. Later all the kids joined him in the room. He would have heard the muttering about his skills if he honestly cared. Naruto Namikaze, please step up. Iruka called. Naruto stood and walked to the front. Please form a henge of the Hokage. Iruka said. Which one? Naruto asked. The fourth. Iruka answered. Naruto gave a short nod and without hand signs transformed to look like his father. Iruka looked impressed and checked him off. Now do a henge of someone of your choice. Iruka said. Naruto nodded once again and transformed to Ichigo. Good. But may I ask who is this? Iruka asked. Someone I've known for a long time. Naruto said in Ichigo's voice before reverting back to normal. All right then. The clone jutsu please. Iruka said. Naruto nodded and formed 10 shadow clones without hand signs. What in the world? Naruto are those? Yes. Kage Bushin. Naruto answered. Okay, please do the substitution. Iruka said. Naruto sighed but did it anyway, replacing himself with Kiba, who was picking his nose. After he realized what happened, he blushed from embarrassment. Go back to your seat, nose picker. Iruka smirked. Kiba nodded and gave a glare to Naruto, who ignored it and walked back down. All right then. Here is your headband, congrats. Iruka smiled. Naruto picked the black headband and stared at it with an impassive gaze. If things were different, thank you sensei. Naruto bowed before tying the thing to his neck and went back up and gave a small smile to his grinning sister, who was sporting it on her forehead. Mom, we're home and we're graduates. Mito grinned. Kushina came downstairs and smiled at her children. She was surprised when Naruto didn't rush upstairs like always but chose instead to lean against the wall. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you too. Kushina grinned. She noticed Naruto had a faraway look and guessed he was thinking about something very deeply. Yeah, Naruto ni was even better than me. You should have seen him. He threw the shuriken with one hand easily and made shadow clones and, wait. Shadow clones? How did you learn those, Naruto? She asked. Naruto glanced at her. Kyuubi, was all he said, making her freeze while her daughter tensed. Kyuubi, you can talk to it? She asked. It's not an it, mother, it's a she. And yes, I can. Ever since father neglected my training. Naruto said coldly. Naruto sighed and went upstairs. When he came back, he had Zangetsu strapped to his back. I'm going out. Don't wait up. With that, he left the house. Its signature is close. Tell me again, Zangetsu, why they exist on this planet. Naruto mentally asked. Hollows exist everywhere, Naruto. As long as something can die, it's possible. Plus the species on your planet are nearly exactly like humans, except you use chakra in large doses. Zangetsu answered. Naruto sighed as he landed on a roof and crouched down while glaring at the group of hollows looking for food. This is where you die for real. Naruto muttered before jumping of the building while unsheathing his sword. On his way down, Naruto vertically slashed a hollow's mask, making it vanish. The other hollows turned their attention to him as he stood glaring at them. Why are there so many? Naruto thought. He had to deal with some this morning at the crack of dawn. Now he had these. One of the hollows lunged at him, but before it could even roar, it was beheaded by Naruto. The others roared before charging him as well. He smirked before gripping his Zanpakuto tighter and spun around while slashing. After 5 minutes, Naruto was alone before he felt something very wrong. Snapping his head to the sky, he saw a Garganta open, revealing 3 Mainos which stepped out into his world. What the hell? Zangetsu. Naruto ordered. Think, Naruto. Those are Mainos Grande. They will be hard to defeat. Zangetsu said. Naruto glared at them before jumping from building to building and stood right in front of one's face. Hey, you bastard. Go back. Naruto yelled. The Mainos looked at him before opening its mouth to launch a Sero. Naruto's eyes widened before leaping back. Getsuga Tensho. Naruto yelled, launching his attacks at the hollow. The Sero stopped while its face was being bombarded by the dark slashes. Naruto-kun, behind you, Kyuubi warned. Naruto glanced behind him and dodged the Sero that hit the Mainos he was dealing with before. As soon as he was out of the way, he flew higher into the sky. Getsuga Rukin. Naruto yelled while falling down and slashing the giant hollow in half. Both Mainos faded away, only leaving one more which was headed towards the Hokage Tower. Sorry bub, but not on my watch. Naruto yelled while using Shunpo to appear in front of the hollow. Die. Naruto roared while using a unsaid Getsuga Tensho. Naruto put so much power into the technique the Manos leaned back before vanishing. Naruto panted as he stood in the air but tensed when he heard clapping. Very good Naruto-kun. You seem stronger. But the Hyogaku can do only so much. Naruto spun around to see a teenage girl who looked about 15 with an annoying smirk. She had long silver hair with black streaks running through it, which was tied into a ponytail and a bang covering her left eye. Her right eye was a pupil-less gold amber. She had a nice tan, also supple pink lips. She wore tan pants which stopped at her bandaged ankles, but had no shoes on showing off her cute medium-sized feet. The woman was adorning black nail polish on both feet and fingers. She wore a sleeveless black shirt and around her neck was some kind of necklace but was hidden under her shirt. Naruto gazed at her eyes which held amusement, happiness and small seriousness. Then he saw it. Tucked in her black sash was a katana which gave off some spirit energy. You have a Zanpakuto. Who the hell are you and how did you know I had the Hyogaku? Naruto demanded, readying himself. The girl shrugged. I know things, what can I say? She smirked. And the sword? He asked. I also possessed the Hyogaku before you. She said. Naruto narrowed his eyes. But Rika said I was the only one on the planet it chose. Naruto said. Oh, I'm not from this planet. I'm from a different planet not that far away from this one. But enough talk. Show me what you can do. She grinned before flashing in front of him. It was only his skill that Naruto was able to block the oncoming blow but barely. The girl had a huge smirk while she was pushing on him. Naruto however looked annoyed and kicked her away. Why are here? And who are you? Naruto demanded. So demanding aren't you? She chuckled before appearing behind him. Naruto saw it coming and ducked while bringing his sword upward in reverse grip. The girl flipped backwards, barely dodging. So you are skilled. Good. Keep me entertained. She roared while charging at him. Naruto glared while charging at her back. The two clashed, causing a shockwave. The two pushed against each other before they leapt back. I will ask once more. Who the hell are you? Naruto yelled. Nake. Benihime. The girl said. Naruto cursed as a red blast shot at him, making him flip over it and swing down while yelling, Getsuga Tensho. The black blast shot at the girl who sliced through it like butter. Using Shunpo she appeared before Naruto and sliced his abdomen, causing blood to spew. Naruto grunted in pain while jumping away. Is that all? She smirked. Naruto, you must use Bankai. Benihime is a powerful Zanpakuto once used by Kazuki Urahara. Zangetsu reminded. You mean the shopkeeper? Naruto asked, getting a mental nod from Zangetsu. Fine. Q-chan, you mind helping me? Naruto asked. Of course. The demoness replied. Naruto nodded. Bankai. Naruto shouted, causing black and red energy to wrap around him. After a few seconds Naruto was revealed. Instead of the black jacket like Ichigo, his was crimson due to Kyuubi. The blade of Zangetsu was also crimson while the hilt was pure black. Naruto's hair grew a little longer while his eyes were now slitted. His orange jacket burned into flames and was replaced by the one he currently wore, so the only thing remained was his fishnet shirt. The girl narrowed her eyes before saying, so this is your Bankai. It seems different than Ichigo's and similar at the same time. I'm guessing Kyuubi's doing. That statement gained widened eyes from Naruto. Who are you? He asked calmly yet coldly while pointing his sword at her. She smirked before flashing in front of him. Naruto narrowed his eyes before blocking. His right hand was the one gripping Zangetsu while his left was held by his side. The girl attacked him with a barrage of strikes and Naruto stood there blocking them all. Having enough, Naruto sent her back with a push of his spirit energy. Your speed is impressive, Naruto-kun. But not enough, she said, pointing her sword at him. A silver ball of energy appeared at the tip and grew. Naruto narrowed his eyes before he figured what that was. Sero, she yelled, launching the blast at him. Naruto stepped back a bit, waiting for the attack to hit. Once it was close enough, he shifted into reverse grip and swung up, shouting. Backlash wave. The Sero shot into the air before exploding. Naruto glared at the girl. Are you trying to destroy this village? He asked. He got no answer, so instead he decided to attack. Shifting back to regular grip, he brought the sword up and swung down. Wind Scar, he yelled. The girl appeared in front of him and plunged her arm in the dead center of his chest. Naruto's eyes widened while coughing up blood. The girl glanced at him and ripped her hand out. Before he fell, she gripped his neck and was surprised by the grip he still had on Zangetsu. "Wake soon, Naruto-kun," she whispered before they both disappeared. Mindscape. Naruto opens his eyes expecting to be in his mindscape but was surprised to know he and the city was submerged underwater. Struggling to try and breathe, Naruto sees the surface and quickly swim towards it. But before he is out, is pulled back and thrown into a building. Opening his eyes, he sees a dark figure which is wearing a hooded cloak. "Calm down. It is painful to watch but you should be able to breathe," the figure said. Naruto narrowed his eyes but tried anyway. Once he was able to, the figure said, "How's that?" Naruto glared at him but asked, "Where is Zangetsu? Where is my partner?" Naruto asked, "Well, at least you didn't call me old like Ichigo did." The figure smirked while pulling out his sword. "Tensa Zangetsu." Naruto's eyes widened. "How the hell do you have that?" Naruto asked. This seemed very familiar but he couldn't remember. "Can't remember. Good, then it's working. I hate for you to know how to ruin my fun," the figure said. Naruto glared at him while the figure pulled of the hood, revealing a young man with curly black hair. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "Wow, you really don't remember. But just like before, this is your first time coming to your mindscape in Bankai." "I should thank that girl," the man muttered. Before Naruto could comment, he flew at him. In pure speed and training, Naruto pulled out his own Tensa Zangetsu and blocked. "I know, you're Tensa Zangetsu, aren't you?" Naruto said while TZ Tensa Zangetsu pushed against him. Not giving a worded answer, TZ swung upward, causing an explosion to hit the surface. Real world. The girl saw Naruto's shoulder get cut and frowned. "So you have started. Good. I need you to be powerful once we leave. The Hyogaku can't do everything," she said to herself. Mindscape. Naruto skidded back on top of a roof. "Damn. Zangetsu, why are you fighting me?" Naruto demanded. "Because I feel like it," was his answer as he charged and swung for his head, but Naruto ducked under and flipped away. "Where is Kyuubi?" Naruto wondered. "Focus, or I won't teach you anything," Zangetsu ordered before appearing behind Naruto and kicking him aside. "What the hell are you talking about?" Naruto grumbled while standing from the rubble. "You can't fool me, Naruto. I know what you want. You don't want just power, you want power and more. You want to use the power to destroy what you hate and protect what you love, correct? You want to learn the final Getsuga Tensho," Zangetsu yelled. Naruto's eyes widened before glaring. "How?" he asked. "I know everything. What you truly desire." "Well, I can't teach you that," Zangetsu said. "And why not? I need the power to destroy the village and protect my precious people," Naruto stated. Zangetsu clashed with Naruto quickly while pushing against him. "So what? I don't care what becomes of your precious people or destruction," Zangetsu said before blasting Naruto away. The building exploded as Naruto flew out and Zangetsu followed. "Do not misunderstand, Naruto. What you want to destroy and protect is not what I want to destroy and protect," Zangetsu said. Naruto crawled up of the floor but was still on all fours looking at the ground. "What do you mean?" Naruto muttered. "About?" Zangetsu asked. "I mean, what the hell do you mean about what I want is not what you want? What about the training and crap you put me through? You said you would lend me your strength like Ichigo. Was I wrong? Answer me, Zangetsu," Naruto yelled, now standing up and glaring at his opponent. "Fool, look at this world. This world was once full of tall buildings. Taller than Ichigo's were, and now they are reduced to nothing. The sky has gone dark and the building have downsized. The rain has stopped falling and now we are underwater," Zangetsu said as Naruto looked around with wide eyes. "Are you really that scared? That weak? You comment on others' weakness but you don't realize your own. It's because, Naruto, you are giving yourself to hatred," Zangetsu glared before appearing in front of him. "How can you ever gain true power when you wallow in hatred and despair? All you want is revenge. You hide your true self because you are afraid it might disappear. I can't leave you like this," Zangetsu said before plunging his fist in Naruto's chest. Naruto coughed up blood. "Right here and right now, Naruto, I will draw out the source of your despair." Zangetsu said while ripping out his hand, making Naruto scream in pain and cough out something white which landed on the ground in a plop. Naruto looked behind Zangetsu to see a white figure. As it rose it spoke. "It's been a while, hasn't it, Naruto?" "How long? 8 years," the person said in that raspy hollow voice. Naruto paled as he observed the figure. It was wearing the same garb he wore except the color scheme was white except for the horned mask which was black. Naruto knew that mask. That was a full hollow mask instead of the one he used in desperation. "What's with the face? Don't you recognize me?" the person asked, moving his hand to the mask to reveal a piece of his face. Once the piece was removed it revealed his dark hollow self. No. Why the hell are you here? I locked you up that day," Naruto said. "Did you really think that weak cell would hold me? I've been influencing you since. Then once you gained Zangetsu I merged with your inner hollow." Naruto said. "I see. So you're the reason I'm so angry. What about the mask? And how the hell did you get a tail?" Naruto demanded, seeing the white tail that was behind him. "Oh, so you don't remember? You used that mask when seeing the full moon. On your 9th birthday. Don't you remember? You didn't want to join the party so you left the village to train. You accidentally looked at the moon while training with your hollow mask and you became the hollow form of your ape self," Zangetsu explained. Naruto's eyes widened. He didn't remember that at all and Kyuubi didn't want to tell him. "Hey, where is Q-chan?" Naruto demanded. "Oh, she is hanging around somewhere. You should hear her." Naruto smirked under the mask. He snapped his fingers to hear roaring. "Let me out, Zangetsu." "Naruto." Kyuubi roared. The hollow snapped his fingers again to hear silence. "You bastard," Naruto growled. "You were so afraid of your destructive impulses mentally you can't properly hollow fi," Zangetsu said, trying to get back on track. "So what now? Do you want me to fight him?" Naruto glared. "No, you fight us as one," Zangetsu and Naruto said before breaking apart and formed into one being. "What the hell?" Naruto gasped while gripping his sword tighter. Before him was Tensa Zangetsu but into Naruto's clothing but with shoes, and half of the mask was on the left side of his head. "Originally we were two as one. And both of us are your own power." Zangetsu glared. Naruto stepped back while his grip tightened. "If that was possible. This will be fun doing it a second time. Now, let's go, Naruto. Show me the power of a Saiyan," Zangetsu yelled while charging at him. Naruto was shocked at his speed and was blasted deeper into the water. "Still won't fall, Naruto," Zangetsu said. Naruto's hair was now a sopping mess as it covered the right side of his eye and his forehead. "Hell number. You will teach me the final Getsuga Tensho," Naruto said. "Do you even know what happens when you use that technique?" Zangetsu asked. There is a side effect?" Naruto asked. "Of course. The side effect is you lose your Shinigami powers. Plus I said I wouldn't teach you it anyway," Zangetsu said, clashing with Naruto. Naruto pushed him back and started striking him repeatedly. "Why do you need that move anyway? For what? What enemy do you need to destroy for you to use that technique? Ichigo had to fight Aizen, but what about you?" Zangetsu yelled as he blasted Naruto away. Why do I need the technique? Do I really hate Konoha that much? That I need to waste my power? No." Naruto snapped his eyes open and flew higher into the air. Zangetsu watched as an aura started to engulf Naruto. "I won't let my dark side win. There is no way. What happened to me for me to hate this much? Go away. Go away," Naruto yelled as his ki flared. His slitted blue eyes started to turn teal as his air started to float. "Ah!" Naruto screamed while his hair turned golden and the black streaks turned silver. His tail unwrapped itself around his waist and it turned silver and gold also. "GGRRAAAAHHH. Naruto roared as his mindscape was exploded in a white light. After the light faded, Zangetsu stared at the glowing Naruto. His eyes were a pupil less teal, his hair was golden with silver streaks while around him was a gold aura that looked like flames. His muscles grew a little bigger also. "So you've done it. You achieved Super Saiyan," Zangetsu smirked. Naruto's face was stoic as he was thinking. If he really wanted to defeat me he would have done so. He wouldn't have let me achieve this form and beat me from the start. That's how strong he is. If he didn't want to teach me he could have kicked me out and hide. So why? Naruto thought. But was cut short when Zanjutsu charged at him. Naruto would normally block but let go of his sword instead and was stabbed. How sharp of you. The final Getsuga Tensho is not something that can be acquired, only be accepting the blade. Zanjutsu said. Naruto looked impassively. It doesn't hurt, he whispered. Of course, this Tensa Zangetsu is yourself. If you accept it there is no reason to feel pain from being pierced. You sure are slower than Ichigo. But unique, Zanjutsu said while a tear dropped. Are you crying? Naruto asked. Naruto, you and Ichigo are different yet the same. You want to protect what's dear to you. Do you remember what I said? About what I wanted to protect? Zanjutsu asked. Yeah, Naruto said. It was you, Naruto. You and Ichigo. Zangetsu said. What is that supposed to mean? Naruto asked. The meaning will come straight to you along with the technique. But if you use this technique, you will become Getsuga, a voice said, shocking both. They snapped their heads to see Ichigo. So you're my reincarnation, hun? Well then, I'm Ichigo Kurosaki. Ichigo said. Ichigo, how are you here? Zangetsu asked. That's not important. What's important is Naruto still needs your power, Zangetsu. And that is only if you two become one. Ichigo said. What? They both said. Naruto, there is no point in using final Getsuga now. You must know that. It's a waste just for you to lose all your spiritual power. So instead you two must become one. Here, Ichigo said, throwing them each an earring. Those are Patora earrings. When you put those on you two will become one being permanently but have your separate minds. Now hurry, Ichigo said. Well, Naruto asked. We were already one. I don't mind a bit. Zangetsu said, putting on the earring on his left ear while Naruto put it on his right. In 2 seconds they both combined. Ichigo covered his eyes to see Naruto now was back in regular form. His hair was a little curly but still the same. He was also a little taller, not by much though. He wore Zangetsu's cloak also. So we're one now. Cool. So now I'm Naruto Zangetsu. Naruto smirked. Yes, but soon you will become Naruto Zangetsu Kurosaki. This is my gift to you, Naruto. Since I'm already dead it won't matter much. Take those off and put this on. Ichigo said, tossing him another earring. 2 fusions. Is that even safe? Naruto asked. Yes. You will gain my power but my mind won't enter. Ready? Ichigo asked. Naruto nodded before they both put the earrings on. The two flew towards each other and slammed, becoming one. Once it was done, Naruto was wearing the darkened crimson Bankai cloak without sleeves. His hair was just like Ichigo's now, longer and spiky and covered part of his right eye. His whisker marks still there but faint. Naruto looked at his hands and channeled his spirit energy and formed Zangetsu. He dispersed it and formed a pinwheel. That's my full bring power, hun. Naruto muttered. Dispersing it, Naruto closed his eyes and focused. Once he opened them he was right in front of Kyuubi. She looked at him and tackled him. Are you okay? I was so worried. Kyuubi said. I'm fine, Q-chan. But I need to talk to you about my personality change. Naruto said. You want it now? She asked. Yes. I still want this but not that much. Once the Hyogoku is released I want it. Naruto said. Kyuubi nodded before Naruto faded out of the seal. Real world. Naruto fluttered his eyes open to see a white ceiling. He sniffed the air and guessed he was in the hospital. Turning his head to left he saw the girl he fought on the chair reading some kind of magazine. So you're finally awake, hun? She asked while flipping a page. Naruto looked at her with uncaring eyes then back to the ceiling. Who are you and why am I here? Naruto asked. Well, I brought you here because that hole I put in your chest was gushing out too much blood for me to properly seal it. As for who I am, it's a secret. She grinned. Naruto gained a tick mark but calmed down. Was this a part of your plan? For me to meet Tensa Zangetsu? Naruto asked. I guess. All I know was that I was supposed to put you on the right path. The girl said, flipping another page. Right path, as in what I want to destroy and protect. Naruto asked. You got it. So what do you want to destroy and protect? She asked, her eyes scanning the page. Naruto thought about his life and how he hated his parents Konoha for choosing his sister over him. His reason for power was to eradicate the objects of his hatred and loneliness. and to protect the small group he held dear. But now he wanted to destroy his foes so that in a way he is protecting his precious people. Did he still hate his parents? Yes, but to the point he wants to destroy them, maybe. My foes, he said. What was that? She asked. I want to destroy my foes. The ones who pose a threat to my precious people, Naruto said. Good answer. Now here is the final question. What are you gonna do now? Will you stay here and get a little stronger? Or leave this world and gain way more power and protect more than this planet? She asked. Naruto sighed inwardly. I refuse to stay here. There is no way I am happy here. But maybe I can restart my life elsewhere. Naruto said. It's possible, she said. Naruto looked at her, meeting her eyes. It's very possible, because I've done it. I have restarted my life. And now I'm more happy than I ever was. But I will be more happy when I kill him, she said with narrowed eyes. Him? Naruto asked. Yes. Frieza Cold, youngest son of King Cold and brother of Cooler Cold. He destroyed my planet just because he was bored. She glared at the ground. Naruto's eyes widened when he felt her ki rising and fast. He took away the little friends I held dear. And my brother. Just because he was bored. She growled, causing her ki to rise and the room to flash. Naruto opened his eyes to see her hair was golden while her eyes were teal. You're a Saiyan, Naruto guessed. She looked at him and nodded. My mother was sent to my home planet Tarok when she was a baby. She was different from other Saiyans apparently since her hair was silver instead of black. So they disowned her, sending her to the most dangerous planet in my system. She gave birth to me but died after 5 minutes. My father was the one to take care of me. He had a son by another woman not that long after. She paused to take a breath. Her silver hair returned as her ki dropped. Kian was my first friend because I was treated differently due to me having a tail. But soon I gained some friends, but one day that bastard that was my father ripped off my tail, and it was the same day Frieza came to destroy the planet. I barely escaped due to me finding my mother's space pod. I watched as my planet along with my brother was destroyed. She explained. What about the Hyogoku? Naruto asked. I guess I always had it since I was born. Once my planet was destroyed, I was so angry at Frieza I became a Super Saiyan and gained Benihime. Rika trained me in the arts of Shinigami but said me learning my Saiyan powers was my own. So I searched the galaxies to find the next bearer of the Hyogoku and found you. She explained. Naruto took all that information in. What about me? In my mindscape I was able to become a Super Saiyan. Can I do so now? Naruto asked. She shook her head. No, you only have the potential to become a Super Saiyan. Something major must happen for you to become one, she said. Naruto nodded. Then something struck his mind. What's today? He asked. Friday. Why? She asked. Naruto shot straight up and channeled chakra into his arm. Within a second a scroll appeared. Naruto unsealed the scroll and put on his clothes. What's the rush? She wondered, blushing slightly at his muscles. Today is when I get team assignments. But most importantly when the Hyogoku leaves my body, he said before jumping out the window. The girl watched as he left, leaving her alone in the room, or so she thought. It's almost time. Will you learn with him? A familiar female voice asked. Yes, you said if I found him I won't be alone. The silver-haired girl said. And you won't, but you have to go after him. The voice said. The girl nodded. I will be at the valley waiting. Don't be late, the voice said before fading off. Naruto barged in the classroom, quieting everyone down till Ni-san. Mito yelled. Naruto glanced at her, then at Sayuri, who also looked worried. Naruto, you're late. You're never late. Something happened? Iruka asked, confused. Naruto looked at him and shook his head. Well then go take a seat, Iruka ordered. Naruto nodded and walked off to sit with his sister, who was glaring at him. Where have you been? Mother and father were worried about you. I was worried, Mito said. Sorry, I had something to take care of, Naruto answered. Alright, now let's start with team assignments. Team 1, Iruka started. Naruto was only half paying attention as he was thinking how he was gonna get out of here. Team 7 will be Naruto, Namikaze, Hinata, Hyuga and Sai. Your team sensei will be Kakashi Hatake, Iruka said. Naruto glared. Oh, he was defiantly leaving. Team 8 will be Mito Namikaze, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame. Your sensei is Kurenai Yuhi. Team 9 is still active. Team 10 will be Sayuri Uchiha, Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akamiki. Your sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi, Iruka said. Team 11 will be Ino Yamanka, Sakura Haruno and Yusuke Urahara. Your sensei will be Anko Midirashi. Iruka finished. There was protests going everywhere till Iruka yelled at them. Now listen. This is all the Hokage's doing. If you have a problem, take it up with him. Now before your senseis come, you have an hour to get acquainted and have lunch. Dismissed, Iruka said. Naruto stood up to leave, glancing at the emotionless pale kid Sai. But was stopped by Hinata, who looked like she was trying not to blush. Naruto-kun, I was wondering. No, he said and passed by her, making her frown. Mito and Sayuri followed him, wondering what the hell was wrong with him. He was on a team with Hinata, he should at least be friends with her. But then again, he was barely friends with anybody. Naruto shunshined home and walked in the house. Naruto, Kushina called at seeing her son. Yes, what is it? Naruto asked. Where have you been? We were worried sick, Kushina said. I told you not to wait up. I went out for training and I fell asleep. Naruto said, waving off her worry. I need to get somethings, Naruto said, going to his room. Once the door was closed, he looked over his room and started to seal his things into the many scrolls. He had prepared for this since he turned 7. So he was beyond ready. After sealing his things and sealed them into one scroll, he picked up his backpack and quickly left for his father's library. He looked up all the jutsu he could use. He skipped over Hiraishin since he had Shunpo. He also skipped over Rasengan since he learned by himself. So he took a couple of fire jutsu, some wind and lightning. He also took that jutsu his supposed to be sensei created. Lighting blade. Why his father had it? No clue. But he was grateful he did. After sealing the scrolls in another scroll, he made his way to the Fuinjutsu section and took the mastery scrolls. Once everything was sealed, he put the 3 scrolls in his backpack. Putting the bag over his shoulder, he left the office and was in the living room, his mother in the kitchen. I'm leaving. Goodbye, mother, Naruto said while putting his headband next to the family picture on the half wall. Looking at it once more, he faced down and left. Okay, bye, Kushina said when walking out, not seeing her son. Shrugging to herself, she went back to doing the dishes, but something was eating at her but didn't know what. Naruto jumped from roof to roof, careful not to encounter Anbu. Naruto glanced at Mito and Sayuri, who were strolling home, no doubt looking for him. Naruto looked away and continued on. Mom, have you seen Naruto? Mito asked, walking in the house. Kushina walked out the kitchen. Oh, he just left. I think he went back to school, Kushina said. Mito looked confused before heading upstairs to his room. Since his 7th birthday, she hadn't been his room due to it being sealed or locked, so she just knocked. Getting no answer, she opened the door, surprised to find it open. What she saw scared her. The room was more plain than it was the last time she came in here. But what were on the walls were formulas of seals and such. Looking at his desk, she could see papers scattered all over the place. Going to look, she saw that they were plans for new jutsu and such. Looking over the desk more, something caught her eye. Picking the paper under the mess of the rest, she was now looking at a drawing. An incredible drawing at that. It was of the moon in the night sky. Trying to look for more, she found his sketchbook in the trash with another book, but it was black and smaller. It was most likely a journal of some sort. She flipped through the sketchbook and surprised to see lots of pictures of him and herself along with Sayuri. When she got to the middle of the large sketchbook, she saw the 9-tailed fox, but on top of its head was her brother and he was grinning like a fox. Turning to the next page, she saw Naruto again, but instead he was sitting against a tree with a red-headed woman sitting between his legs. She looked asleep, as did Naruto, with a small smile. Around them was a beautiful field of flowers and such, but once again she saw the full moon. After a few more pages, she stopped on a page where Naruto was sitting on a rooftop surrounded by other buildings. On the side, standing on the tip of a building, was a middle-aged man in some kind of black cloak and glasses. Then looking again, on Naruto's back was the sword he always carried. And once again he was staring at the full moon with an impassive gaze. Mito, what's taking you so long? Sayuri asked as she came up the stairs. Mito ignored her as she turned to the last page and gasped. The picture was of a burning Konoha in the night. Naruto was sitting on the edge of the Hokage tower looking at the village with his impassive face. Behind him were two people who lay dead. Their parents. Blood trickled out of her mother's mouth with her eyes closed while her father's chest was impaled by Naruto's sword. But then she caught something. Looking at the village, she saw an ape-like monster destroying the village while the same full moon was out. "What are you looking at?" Sayuri asked as she was in her crush's room. Mito handed her the book and picked up the journal. She read most pages about how he hated Konoha and stuff like that. Then she stopped on his 7th birthday. "I met this weird lady today when I left the compound. But before that I tripped over this awesome-looking rock. The woman said it was called the Hyogaku and I was its new container. She said it would bring me power and in 6 years I would be more powerful to fulfill my dreams. She gave me my new sword Zangetsu. Apparently Q-chan doesn't mind Zangetsu. He told me how I was Ichigo's reincarnation and stuff. His memories are so cool but were painful since I felt every pain he felt. The woman told me her name was Rika and said I should leave the village when I graduate. Then I could accomplish my dreams. But it would be hard leaving Mito-chan and Sayuri-chan. I love them both but I must fulfill my dream, that way I can be complete." As she read on, Mito's eyes widened. Today was the day he was leaving. "Mom!" Mito screamed and ran downstairs. Sayuri looked confused as she looked at the picture but jumped when her friend screamed and ran downstairs. Soon she joined her. "What's WR? He's gone. Naruto's gone. We have to search for him. We have to find him." Mito cried. "What do you mean?" Kushina asked, trying to calm her down. "He's left the village. We have to find him before it's too late," Mito said. Kushina's eyes widened before she left via Shunshin. Minato was having a decent day despite the fact he had no clue where his son was and probably would berate him for putting the weak Hyuga on his team. But he believed Naruto should make friends with her and get closer. "Minato!" Kushina yelled, barging in the office. The man jumped from seeing his wife barge in like that. "What's the matter?" he asked. "Naruto is gone. He left the village. We have to find him," Kushina said, her eyes beginning to tear. Minato got serious before calling Anbu. "I need 3 teams to go look for my son outside and inside the village. Neko, get me the Jonin now. And tell Kakashi that it is an order." Minato barked out. The Anbu nodded and went to do their jobs. Within 5 minutes the Jonin sensei along with Itachi were in the office wondering what the commotion was about. "Listen up. Naruto has left the village and needs to be found immediately. We can't let him go. I have reason to believe he has already left the gates but I'm not sure. So I'm sending you all outside to look." "Dismissed," Minato yelled. After they were gone he looked over to his wife who was sobbing quietly. Walking over to her he hugged her. "It's okay, we'll find him," Minato reassured. "I just can't believe this is happening. I'm such a bad mother if this is happening," Kushina said. "Don't pin all the blame on yourself. It's my fault too, you know. I'm the one who neglected him over Mito. But we will find him." Minato kissed her forehead and flashed home. The sight he was greeted to was Mito readying herself with kunai and such. She tied her hair back in a ponytail before glancing at her father. "I'm going to find him with Sayuri," she said. "Fine, but take this. I'll be right behind you," Minato said, handing her a kunai. She took it and pocketed it before running out the house and jumped from roof to roof. Meanwhile at the gate Kakashi summoned his tracking dogs. "What is it, Kakashi?" Pakun asked. "I need you to find Naruto's scent for us. He's gone missing," Kakashi said. Pakun nodded as he sniffed the cloth Kakashi gave him. "He's gone north and seems pretty far ahead," Pakun said as Thujonin nodded and ran out. Mito and Sayuri weren't far behind. Naruto hopped from tree to tree. He glanced behind him now knowing the situation. Before leaving Naruto planted a clone so when it dispelled he was informed of what was going on. Naruto looked forward and sped up. Forming a hand sign he said, "Taiju Kage Bushin no Jutsu." Within seconds there were at least 100 Narutos. "I want 25 of you to spread around the forest and mark our scent. I want another 25 to scatter the forest. We need to confuse the ninja dogs Hatake has." "Scatter," Naruto barked, causing the clones to get to work. "His trail has changed." "No, it's everywhere. I can't pinpoint the real one." Pakun and the dogs snapped their heads around. So he's trying to throw us off Fine, Itachi, Kakashi ordered. The Uchiha nodded before activating his Sharingan. His chakra is everywhere. It seems he has created an army of clones. I can't pinpoint the real one, Itachi said. Then we will have to scatter. Each of you group up in two and take a ninja hound. Howl if you encounter the real one. Try and persuade him into coming back and don't do too much damage. Spread. Kakashi barked, causing them to also get to work. Naruto stopped as he decided to rest. He was sure he threw them off. But he had to be careful as there was Jonin and Anbu looking for him. Well, don't I feel loved? Took 13 years to notice me. Pathetic. Naruto muttered to himself as he took off once again. As he kept jumping, he wondered where he would go from here, after he left. He finally came to a clearing and sighed as he stood and began walking, but had to dodge the kunai that nearly hit him. Back flipping, he faced 3 Anbu root. Who the hell are you? I'm positive the Hokage didn't send you with the masks or anything to go by. Naruto glared. Naruto Namikaze, you are to come with us. You are not permitted to leave the village. Orders from Danzo-sama, the root Anbu said. Danzo, what the hell does that old fart want with me? Naruto demanded. That is classified, the second said as he charged at Naruto. The boy grunted in annoyance before using Shunpo and kneeing his attacker's ribs. Naruto backflipped and did a handstand as he kicked the Anbu's chin repeatedly. With one final kick he was into the air. Disappearing in a blur, Naruto appeared in front of the first and uppercut him. Shoryuken, Naruto yelled as his opponent was launched into the sky with flames. The third Anbu charged ready to strike with his blade but was cut in two by Naruto's pinwheel technique. After he was done, the boy ran out the fields to complete his journey, not knowing he was being followed. As Naruto continued to run, he was smart enough to turn around mid-jump and blow out, fire style, great fireball jutsu. The ball of flame flew towards Itachi, who was able to duck under and chase Naruto, who hurried ahead. I knew teaching him that was a bad idea, Itachi mused before speeding up. Glancing to his left, he saw Anko looked like she was in deep thought. Probably wondering why Naruto would leave her, he thought. Naruto landed on the first Hokage's stone head and looked around. He was here, the valley of the end. Sighing to himself, he jumped over the Madara's head and kept walking, but stopped when he heard Naruto. He wondered how the hell they all caught up to him so fast. Then he realized, they probably used reverse summon or some crap like that. He wouldn't know since he didn't have summons. Yet, Naruto's anger got the best of him. Why the hell would they care? Why would they care now of all times, when now he wants them to leave him alone? Turning around, he faced them. All their eyes widened, including Mito and Sayuri, who were hiding, waiting till it was the right time. If the Jonin failed, then they would step in. The right side of Naruto's was covered by his hollow mask. He mentally grinned. If he had full control soon, then he would be a wizard. Awesome. Well, if it isn't the Jonin. Naruto smirked. Why? Anko asked quietly, but Naruto heard her as his attention was directed at her. Why are you leaving? Aren't we your friends? She screamed. Naruto stared at her with his impassive look. Yes, that is the reason why I'm leaving, Naruto said. Bullshit. If I'm your friend and you have others, then you would stay. Anko yelled, surprising the other Jonin as they did not know the connection Naruto had with her. Not even Kurenai. Wrong. If I stayed, then I would have killed you all. With no remorse. So let me go, Naruto said while turning around and continued to walk off. That's when Itachi snapped. He channeled chakra to his feet and jumped to Naruto. The boy saw a shadow closing in and decided to make use of it. Itachi suddenly was pushed back and fell into the water. Why? Because his shadow repelled him away. Naruto smirked as he continued to walk, but cursed when a giant snake smashed where he was standing. He was forced into the air right above the snake summon's head. Naruto narrowed his eyes and channeled chakra to his hand, causing chirps to be heard. This was only the second time he used Chidori. He needed to master it, then he would move on to Lightning Blade. The white lighting soon turned black with red outlines. Tensho Chidori, Naruto muttered before flying down, his arms by his side looking like a bullet. Naruto cocked his Chidori hand back and thrust it inside the snake's head, killing it. He landed on the water with ease and was able to stand. Everyone was taken back by his show of skill. Especially Kakashi, who was surprised to see Chidori to be used without hand signs and that Naruto was able to stand on water. Naruto glared up at them, subconsciously making the water spin around him. He narrowed his eyes as he dodged fireballs from Itachi. Flipping around, Naruto fired fireballs at him. But to his surprise, Azuma came flying down at him. Naruto flipped to the side and ran up the statues. "I don't have time for this," Naruto growled, allowing his hollow mask to cover his face fully. As he was running up the statues, Zangetsu formed in his hand. He channeled lightning chakra into Zangetsu as Chidori started to cover the blade before turning black. Naruto stopped running as he was above them all. Final Chidori strike. Naruto howled as he flew down at incredible speed, stabbing the water. Within half a second the whole area was hit with his Tensho Chidori. The Jonin screamed in pain as the lightning coursed through their bodies. It was enough to wound and paralyze them but wouldn't have dangerous effects. They all fell in the water but floated above. Naruto looked at them all and tried to walk when Anko grabbed his ankle. "Please Naruto, don't go. Don't leave me alone," she cried. Naruto looked at her before touching her forehead. "Sleep, Anko-chan. I'll be back to visit you soon," Naruto whispered and pecked her lips before using Shunpo to appear on Madara's head. "Brother," Mito called. Naruto turned to her. His mask was gone since Anko grabbed his ankle. "Mito-chan, please let me go, and I promise to visit you and Sayuri-chan soon, just please," Naruto said. "But what about me? Why are you leaving?" she wondered. "Because I need to. I need to get stronger and defeat my enemies so I can protect you and Sayuri along with Anko. You must understand." Naruto sighed as he gripped his chest and pulled it away to show the Hyogoku in his hand. "Take this. Keep it as a reminder of me. This has been with me for 6 years. Once it is with you, you will always feel my presence. Become stronger, sister." Naruto smiled before letting go of the Hyogoku. It floated over to Mito and entered her chest. "With that I will always be able to find you. Tell Sayuri-chan I said goodbye. I love you, Mito-chan. Farewell," Naruto said before turning to the silver-haired girl and Rika. "Are you ready to go, Naruto-kun?" Rika asked. Naruto nodded as Rika opened up a white portal. "Then come with me. It's time for you two to start training," Rika said. The girl nodded and walked inside, as did Naruto, but not before giving his sister a smile. Mito let tears fall from her cheeks as he left. "Your brother will be safe. In fact, he will be back in time for the Chunin exams. Be ready, Mito-chan, for he will be stronger than your father." Rika smiled before entering the party, leaving Mito alone. 30 seconds later, Minato and Kushina were by her side. "Where is he? Where's Naruto?" Minato asked. "He's gone. He left. But he said he will come back soon. To visit me and Sayuri." Mito smiled softly while wiping her eyes. "Don't worry, Ni-san. I will become strong," Mito proclaimed before leaving to train. Minato and Kushina sighed in disappointment that their son was gone. The Anbu behind them picked up the Jonin and they headed back home to grieve. Naruto and the girl appeared on some land but immediately felt weighed down. "If I were you, I would release those weights and gravity seals," Rika smirked. "No, leave them on. It would be great for training their speed," a squeaky male voice said. Naruto and the girl turned their heads to see a small blue man with antennas. He wore a black-like dress, whatever it was, and on his chest was King Kai. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "I am King Kai, the funniest Kai of all the lands." King Kai grinned. Naruto gave him a deadpan look. "Reet. Anyway, where are we?" Naruto asked, looking around. "This is King Kai's planet. You will be training here for a while," Rika said. King Kai nodded when he heard. "Come back here, you monkey." Naruto looked around King Kai to see a man with spiky black hair in an orange outfit chasing a moniki. Who's that?" Naruto asked. Oh, that is Goku." "Goku, stop chasing bubbles and greet your new training partners," King Kai ordered. "But I almost had him," Goku whined. "Now Goku," King Kai barked. "Yes, King Kai," Goku muttered before walking over. "This is Goku." "Goku, this is Naruto Zangetsu," Naruto answered. "Reina," the girl introduced. Naruto glanced at her, then back at King Kai and Goku. "New training partners. But King Kai, they're not dead," Goku pointed out. "They don't have to be dead. But there is something you should know." They are both Saiyans. Half Saiyans to be precise. King Kai said. Naruto looked confused. He knew he was a Saiyan but wondered how. King Kai, how am I a Saiyan? Naruto wondered. Your father is a full Saiyan while your mother is half Saiyan. Your grandmother on your mother's side was a Saiyan. King Kai informed. Naruto nodded. So why are we here, King Kai? Reina asked. You two will be training with Goku and learn more about Ki. Goku will teach you techniques while all three of you train under me, understood? King Kai asked. Yes, King Kai. They both nodded. Well, since everything is under control here, I'll be going. I will return in a year and some change. Farewell, Naruto-kun, Reina-chan. Rika smiled before leaving. Alright then, let's get started. King Kai cheered before Naruto's stomach growled. Naruto blushed in embarrassment. Can I get something to eat first? Naruto asked sheepishly. Goku laughed while King Kai and Reina's sweat dropped. This was gonna be troublesome. The end. Thanks for watching. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.